Nazeh is a leading industrialist in textile industry, is more specifically in the textile machinery and services for the textile industry. But he's launched also several other businesses. He has several civic and social commitments. He's a business angel and leading the Carthage Business Angel organization, among other things. And so, Nazeh, if you would like to take it from there and tell us how you work and what is CSR for you.
Thank you, Antoine. I would like to thank everybody for being present today. I also would like to thank Munir Beltaifa, the Vice President of Initiative of Change. We are living, especially in Tunisia, an era where there are lots of changes. Yes, there were lots of initiatives since 10 years now, since the revolution. I would like to talk a little bit about my personal experience for the corporate social responsibility in Tunisia, what I lived outside also of Tunisia. And then I would like to raise the issue of startup responsibility, social responsibility, since our economy is heading towards a new economy and our government is pushing for an ecosystem that will help increase the impact of startups in Tunisia. So from my personal experience, I was raised in Tunisia. I got my higher education in the US. I'm an engineer. I did my bachelor degrees in math and industrial engineering at Purdue University, Indiana. Then I went to Stanford University for my management engineering degree. The first time when I faced the what we call responsibility, it was when I pledged for being a good engineer. And that was like, it was at Purdue in West Lafayette, Indiana. And then I understood that in the States or all over the world, we have to pledge for an integrity, for fair dealing, tolerance, respect, and to work for humanity in general. That was my first contact, I would say, with what's the meaning of pledging for the goodwill, for to help the humanity. Coming from North Africa, it is definitely something that brought me into this world where I'm thinking more worldwide rather than just Tunisia or in the States. Then just after I finished my degrees, I went to started my career in an oil company, service oil company, a multinational, where my first experience was in Libya. And then it was my first shock, where we don't respect at all the environment. Yes, we were in the desert, but still we were throwing up some chemicals into the desert like that, and there were like some animals, etc. I didn't really like that, so my career was very short with this oil industry. Then I had the chance to move on to an investment company in Switzerland, and then we worked by the rules there as an investment company. Among the projects that I worked on are projects in the textile industry in Tunisia and the packaging. So in 1993, I came back to Tunisia to develop a family business. I had the chance also to start many companies. Among them is Excellencia that I'll be talking to about, which is a technology-oriented company for the construction industry. And I will come back to the construction industry later on. So I managed about a group of companies, about 7 to 8 companies. And I succeeded in many of them. I sold out my shares in others, and some failed. And then I understood after a while that my experience in Silicon Valley, when I've seen the environment of then it was like the big, we were talking about internet, etc. And I was facing what's the meaning of business angel? What's the meaning of VC? I really thought about doing the same thing in Tunisia, and it was until 2010, just before the revolution, that we got together with some friends to establish Carthage Business Angel. Then when I was looking at my career until then, I really found out that I'm definitely a risk seeker. So I loved taking risks. But not only that, I was also an economical activist, meaning that I was the president of AmCham Tunisia. It was during the period where the revolution came out in 2011. And then suddenly there was a subject that everybody was talking about, which is the corporate social responsibility. People didn't talk about that before the revolution. And there were like some interesting seminars, trips. We brought gurus from talking about CSR from all over the world. 10 years later, we are failing what I will call the social responsibility movement. From my personal experience, I headed companies who we were taking social responsibility as granted, meaning our employees, the environment, the community, we had to follow these rules because that's how I grew up. That's how I opened my eyes. The thing that I noticed is that in Tunisia, not all the companies were like that. So we had some what we call local companies, and also companies that were working for the export market, where they had either partners or they had to deal with the prerequisites and the needs of the export markets. Mainly, I'm talking about Europe here. I have also faced the difference between large and smaller companies. Larger companies had the tendency to work by the rules, and the rules are quite strict in Tunisia about safety regulations, about child labor, paying social security, etc. But it wasn't enough because there were also some companies in the textile industry in Tunisia that were really harming the environment. Next to the beach, we have sea. I was in the sea one day, and there were like the sea was too blue, meaning the water was with ink, with indigo ink, coming from a factory that was washing jeans in Tunisia. And by the way, we are one of the largest exporters, I think number 2 or 3 exporters of jeans towards Europe, with very good know-how. But I have seen also employees who were working under very difficult circumstances. I also was shocked as soon as I started my career in Tunisia when I have seen the what I call the social inequality between men and women, where women had to give up their wages the day when they got their wages in the region of the Ssr Halal, which is the monastery in Tunisia, which is something that really shocked me and changed my way of how I was looking at things. I would like to talk about 2 things. Mainly, I would like to share with you a map that shows the level of corruption in the world. I don't know if you see my, yeah, do you see? Yes, you see it, right? So as you can see, the world is not yellowish, it's rather reddish, which is quite sad in 2021 to see the corruption level where it is. And there are some countries that are more red than the others. We in Tunisia, we are on the orange part, but things got worse since the revolution. So why did it get worse? For the simplest reason that for the simplest reason that the economical development in Tunisia is low. We have a democracy, didn't help to deal with corruption. There are some weaknesses in the governmental structures. We have also had to deal with monopolies, both governmental monopolies and private monopolies. We have also seen that. I was in Africa just 4 weeks ago. I'm not going to mention the name of the country because it was quite sad, where corporates in this who were dealing with the natural resources of this specific country were just taking all the resources out, and the country is so rich if we talk about the ground level and the mining, but the people are so poor, with electrification of the country is reaching only 9% in 2021. We have also seen that there are some institutional governmental that provide economical assistance that need to deal more with the day-to-day business of the countries, and they need to get more interested in the transparency of these countries at all levels. I'm not going to talk about more about the corruption part, because as a businessman, both for my investments as well as for my day-to-day business, I'm being hurt by people who do not go by the rules, unfortunately. So I'm going to move on and talk more about what I call SSR, which is Startup Social Responsibility, which in Tunisia, we never spoke about that until lately. So SSR is the continuing commitment by business to behave ethically, also in a manner that we go with by the rules, and respect the environment, especially in growing economies like ours. There are some facts that I would like to share with you. Is social responsibility really important for countries like ours? I definitely think so. More and more we see a tendency, because of Corona and others, that consumers are demanding more companies to act accordingly. It is, yes, the deciding factor when we choose a place to work for. This is, we have seen that both in Tunisia and elsewhere. It's not only wages, it's not like stock options, it's also how socially oriented the startup is. Many companies have used it purely as a PR tactic. It doesn't work because it's not just to bring more customers. You have to have the startup, the corporate social responsibility philosophy. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Ethics and social responsibility can benefit business and community. We need to think socially, and people think that social responsibility is only for large companies. It's not true. It's also for smaller companies, which we were able to install in companies where we had only 2-3 employees. We think also it is costly. Absolutely not. It's just a way of thinking. And we just need to make sure that we have the ethical framework and responsibility initiative should be built, and we need to make the follow-up to make sure that the social responsibility is installed in a startup or a medium-sized company. The benefits of SSR definitely for the customers, where you can build better credibility, better company image and customer loyalties, and build awareness. Also for the employees, as I said, for the employees advocacy, attract talents. Talents are looking for something else today, and also increase the employee engagement and satisfaction. For the business, we need positioning, we need the branding, we need areas of improvement, and I don't think CSR could be areas of improvement, and we need to keep innovating. For the community, for the family of our employees, there are some musts that need to be there, where we need, as leaders of companies, to think about the community and the environment. These are the values. So it has to. We need to be sincere towards others. We need to have to feel responsible. We should have this higher ethical level in order to not to follow some other countries that are really doing very bad. In Tunisia, we are working on this. We have some ways to go ahead. We have seen companies like Starbucks or Tom's where they are giving unsold food to hunger people who might have not their dinner or lunch. But Tom's is giving a pair of shoes for every child in developing country for every single sale. Very quickly, 87% of the millennials say that they believe their companies should succeed should be measured on more than financial performance, which was not true in the 80s. We have seen that the VCs also choose their startups where social responsibility could be interesting. We can increase the market value by 4 to 6%. These are other values that we can share later on. Productivity is very important as well, where we can there are studies where we can increase productivity by up to 13%. The challenges, I spoke about them. There are some real economical challenges that we are facing. So people think that it's not a priority to have social responsibility as a priority for the company. We have also a problem with the market access because people cannot travel. The market is very small in Tunisia, so it's quite challenging for the managers or for the founders of the startups. We need to have the right skill set to implement SSR, and we need good governance in order to keep the process going. Thank you. I had to go a little bit fast for the part that concerns the startup social responsibility. And I'll be looking forward to your questions, and then we'll have the discussions to speak about all this together. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nazeh, for this presentation. I must say we rely heavily on the responsibility of the speakers to keep the time, and you kept it very well. So thank you also for that. So,
yeah, I had my time around.
So we could now split the group in small discussion groups. It will take some time because unfortunately, because we had a changing number of people, I didn't anticipate it very well. So bear with me, maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Maybe if you want to ask a question directly to Nazeh in this time, you can, while I'm trying to divide the groups.
Nazeh, can I just ask where you got your figures from? Where did you get your facts from? Because they're very attractive, kind of pro CSR and SSR figures that you've provided. Where did you source those, please?
There was a study made in Silicon Valley that was a report of 12 or 13 pages. So they talk about these figures and many others. I chose only a couple of, but I'll send you my resources if you would like, Nick, okay? But it was very, very thoroughly well-made study about the Silicon Valley ecosystems, and these are, I mean, it's a study that quite scientific and quite interesting study.
And would you say that it was related mainly to the American market, or was it global?
No, yeah, no, it was more for the American market, specifically for Silicon Valley. But the study was not made only on startups that were present in Silicon Valley. It was a larger scale.
Nazeh, I'm interested in knowing in your region of the world, what percentage of profits do companies allocate for SSR, CSR?
Can you repeat, please?
I said, in your region of the world, what percentage of profit are companies allocating for CSR?
I don't really have the figures because I'm a founding member of an employer association called Connect, and we really tried to have, or I pushed while I was there, to have a label to know how much of the profit will go to make sure that the CSR is there. But I know some cases in the textile industry, in the car industry, in manufacturing industry, service industry. You know, we have lots of call centers where we pay quite a bit of attention. And before the revolution, people didn't really look at this investment. Now there are companies who are taking their employees to their homes with the means of the company itself. There are I was visiting some factories where they had, where the employees can have lunch, or they can rest in an environment that is very green, very positive, where we make sure that there are some inspections that come from just to check if the employees are happy, etc. By the way, I didn't mention that in Tunisia, we have the unions that are extremely strong. They are really unbelievably strong, and they did hurt rather than helping the conditions of the workers by doing some salvage strikes, by not thinking about the institution. They were thinking about the employee. The employee had to. We kept increasing the wages, which is fair enough, but we really didn't ask for better productivity, better presence, better quality, which really didn't give the best image right now. Myself, as a member of the Tunisian German Chamber of Commerce, we need to work a lot on our image, but when you have strong unions, it doesn't really help that much.
Thank you very